What's up, champ? I'm Ryan, the author of Play Like a Champion, Sleep Like a Baby, and this is a video to my younger self. And what I'm talking about today is one of the key principles that's required to commit. And commitment is going to be absolutely paramount to anything that you're trying to do. And one thing that gets overlooked, I should say, is that when you are committed to something, you just need to keep showing up. And it might sound obvious. A lot of times, self-help or self-development advice might sound obvious. But in this case, when you show up and you show up and you show up, and it's related to what I talked about yesterday, which is you're only supposed to be as good as you are. You show up at whatever level you are. If you are everybody that you know was a beginner, brand new at something at some point, nobody came out of the womb, even if they have a ton of talent, they weren't always starting somewhere. Tony Hawk started skateboarding. There was one day that was his first day, and there was one day that was his 10th day. And Kelly Slater, even though he's an incredibly talented surfer, it wasn't always that way, right? Michael Jordan famously got cut from his sophomore year basketball team, and then went on to become the greatest of all time, right? Arguably. So the only argument really being maybe LeBron, maybe Kobe. Anyway, point being, you just have to keep showing up, and it requires overcoming embarrassment. It requires, as I talk about a lot in the book, knowing your values, because when your values are clear, your choices are easy. So when it is raining and it's going to be difficult to get to, let's say you're taking a dance class, or when it's cold and you don't want to go to work, or whatever the situation happens to be, when you know your highest values, when there's nothing that is obfuscating your view of your highest ideals, right? It becomes easy to make that decision because this is just what you do. And I want to talk about that part because it leads into, showing up every day or showing up every week or whatever your cadence and activity happens to be. Not only does that build a habit, but building a habit then builds a lifestyle, and building a lifestyle then builds an identity. And when something is part of your identity, it is built, it is chiseled into stone. It is laser etched, into your reality. And an example of this, a really good example of this, is maybe when you start working out, you don't like it. Because if you aren't used to working out, or if you aren't used to eating healthy, or if you aren't used to really having any kind of positive habits, it'll feel difficult in the beginning, and you won't be good at it. And when you're not good at it, it makes it that much more difficult to enjoy most things, right? But then as you start to build the habit, and then you build the lifestyle, and then you build the identity, now, even though you didn't like to before, now it just becomes easy. Because it's part of you. It is part of what makes you you. So, showing up is absolutely paramount. And it is one of the most important things you can do in your life when it comes to being committed and actually making big moves. Because if you aren't committed, you'll always just be on this treadmill of being a dilettante, basically. Someone who just dabbles. Someone who just or doesn't even try, which honestly, in my view, is even worse than being a dilettante. Be a dilettante. Try a bunch of things. See what things fit your interests, your style, whatever. Better than sitting around doing nothing all the time. So, regardless, choosing something, you have to be able to be committed, able to show up consistently, and do it regardless of your skill level. And you'll find that the more often that you show up, the more consistent that you are, the better that you'll get more quickly, and then you'll start to enjoy things more and more. So then it becomes easier to show up when you like it. And not to mention, in a lot of cases, it's just kind of the natural flow of things, the way of the world, you'll meet people who will not only is that just good on the surface to meet other people, friends that you'll make, the opportunity for people that you might date, which is a way better way to meet people than dating apps or any other nonsense like that, meeting people in person who have common interests. yeah, you'll meet people. It'll become, it gives you community as well, which is something that we're massively missing in this era, in this modern world. So I highly recommend that you pick something and that you give it at least a few months where you're showing up on a regular basis. Now, ideally, nothing less than once a week. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's underwater basket weaving. I don't care if it's dance, if it's a soccer club, anything you want. But pick something, show up consistently, and watch how you, by plugging into that, you'll meet people, you'll find parts of yourself you didn't know existed, and at least you won't be sitting around the couch wondering what if, right? So that's the piece for today. Part of this is talked about in my book, Play Like a Champion, Sleep Like a Baby. And you can download a free chapter if you click on the link in the description. But yeah, that's about it for today, champ. Play like a champion so you can sleep like a baby. I'll see you in the next one.